too. Amazing. So here's what I thought we would do. First of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about sheet pans. And then I thought we would do the marinade for the coconut curry chicken because this one calls to reduce it a little bit. It's just what's going to happen when we do that on the stove. It's going to intensify the flavors of it before you marinate your food in it. So I thought we'd do that first to save a little time. And then we'll start the pepper one and we'll let the food marinate in the marinade. And then, so we'll cook the curry one second, but we'll make the marinade first. Makes sense? So we can get it sitting in that to really soak up the flavors of everything else. And the other thing I love about these recipes is that they are so flexible in terms of ingredients. So if you have different veggies that you like for either one of these recipes, please ask me today how you would cut them or how you would use them, because I can already think of a million other things I would do with each of them. Okay, so a couple things I want to start with. First of all, here's our prize today, this beautiful piece of stove. So if you guys don't know, stove, I just told my friend I'm going to see her later, and she said, I'll have dinner for us. And I said, actually, I'm making 2 dinners. Why don't I just bring you one? And she's excited. I love it. But you guys, stove is this cast iron, enameled cast iron that is so beautiful. Hi from Danville. Hi, KQ. And they sent me this piece to give away. This one is for me to keep. They're so nice. So they're calling this the Poêle haute avec couvert vert, 26 cm noir. A covered dish with a 26 centimeter width. But it comes in a bunch of different colors. This is the black, and I think the black is the one that they're giving away. This is phenomenal. You can use it for braising because it's got this great lid. You can use it for sauces. It'd be an amazing, yes, Lori. It'd be an amazing risotto pan. It could do a million things. You could definitely brown, and if you're cooking for 2 to 4 people, this is a great size pan. So this is oven to table all the way, and it's amazing. So she's still texting, being like, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. She's not on here, but I'm definitely bringing her dinner in exchange for use of her hot tub and sitting around tonight, lounging around. So it is super deep, Miles. And don't forget, you guys, all of you who show up for the class live get an extra entry into winning this. And so you guys are already in an advantage. And Caitlin pulls the names for me. So she's going to send me a name today. She's not here with me today. So she tunes in to see who's on, and then she sends me the winner's name. So if I don't remember by the end of class, will you guys remind me so that I check my email? I'm going to get this out of the way right now and ignore my phone. Also, just because I'm getting to know all of you so well, I'm trying to think. I have one teenager at home right now, and the other one is out at the driving range. My older son's going back to college this week, and I know I'm going to miss him like crazy. I love having him around. But do you guys get weird? I think maybe it's separation anxiety, or maybe I'm just really tired of picking up other people's messes. And I was really not my nicest this morning. I'm just bossing them around, asking them to do chores. All I feel like I do is wash dishes. And I left, and I came back, and I was like, I scrubbed the whole kitchen this morning, and there were 2 dishes already. So we'll see if they come flying in here and forget that I'm doing this live, if they're nice to their mother. I think the separation anxiety thing is real. And so you like kind of squabble because you don't want to say goodbye. I tend to just be a crier. So I'll take them back to school, and then I'll just cry on my way home. And then by the time I get home, I normally feel better, you know? Oh, Sandy, right? We get so used to being around each other. I actually loved the time with my kids during COVID because I had always worked and commuted for so many years when they were little. And so I felt like I got all this time back with them, you know, it was kind of awesome. So, okay, other thing to know before we really dig in is since Caitlin's not here today, I'm monitoring my own questions. Usually it's not a problem, but if I miss something, please ask me. And I see a question in here already, so I'll answer that one. Oh, how are you? You are so nice, Karen. Thank you for asking. You guys, I've been having some health issues. I hate to keep boring people, but I keep getting a little more information. And so I got a little more information this week. It's funny, not funny. Like they found another problem that has nothing to do with the bigger thing, which I'll just tell you all. If you, I've been diagnosed with a million things, and I think all of them have been wrong, except back surgery. I've had 2 ruptured discs that I've had to have replaced, and I had a tumor that they found that I had to have removed on a parathyroid gland. But what they're thinking is that it's advanced endometriosis that I've had forever. That is basically it's like the cells can grow all over, and that they think the scar tissue has formed and attached to my organs on the back side of me. So all of this time I had back pain and it was inconsistent. I thought it was just my back injury, but since it's become like completely chronic 24/7, it has been a full-time job to try to manage my pain. And so there's hope on the horizon, but like every time I go have another scan or a test, I swear they find something else out, and I'm like, I have to have another procedure done, and it has nothing to do with that. And so what are you going to do, right? We're going to sit here and cook and have a good time. So thanks for asking. We'll stop talking about that. Deb, we'll have to talk about that. It just gets so old. I can't wait to pick our winner today. Let's cook. Okay, sheet pans. I'm going to start with something really basic, and I forget that this is something that's a total cook's hack. And so I brought my keyboard in, and I just sit here and talk to you guys. We literally use sheet pans in the culinary world and restaurants all the time. So these are sheet pans. I've already put some foil on them, okay? These tiny ones are called quarter sheet pans, and they fit in most convection ovens or toaster ovens. So they're really great for countertop or like a half batch of cookies. You know, they'll fit like 6 cookies. And so I love these. I'm going to talk about these if you're doing sheet pan dinners for 1 or 2 people. But one of my most prized possessions is a half sheet pan. And in the culinary world, a full sheet pan is that big. It's twice this, and it can fit into big industrial ovens, right? But this fits across most ovens width-wise. And I don't know if this is 18 by 12. I'm just guessing. I think that's probably right. Hi, Diana. So glad you're here. And so I live with these. This is a Williams-Sonoma one. This is their Gold Touch, which is the non-stick that is like the highest end one. I'm not going to lie. They've given me so many. I can't even remember which ones I bought and which ones they gave me. We'll have to give some of them away in the next one, but the stove today is a winner. And then, so I have a bunch of these, and I use them like crazy. I use them in my oven. I use them on my Traeger. I use them to roast vegetables, chicken, for baking, and I'm constantly, you can use them by themselves, and these are the non-stick ones, but they get dirty easily, right? And I'm not a fan of having to wash all my dishes all the time. So I usually put parchment or foil on these when I bake or I roast on them. 18 by 13. Thanks, Sandy. So I ran out of parchment. I forgot to buy more when I went to Whole Foods today. And so I'm just using foil, which is fine. It's a little bit more, first of all, I feel wasteful with it. And it rips kind of easily. So yesterday when I was like tossing my veggies, when I was testing these recipes, I tore it a little bit, and that annoyed me. So there's a truck moving backwards up my street, which is a super steep hill, and it is like a huge semi, and it's going very aggressively, like, no big deal. Good luck. Anyhow, so you'll hear me I talk about these, but if you don't own sheet pans and you're making a sheet pan dinner, do not fret. You can use anything that's open. I just like things that are wide on the bottom, right? So you've got a lot of space for things to cook. In my oven, I end up using 2 of these a lot. Just layer them into my oven. In that oven, my big oven, they probably fit 2 next to each other. I think it's deep enough for that to work, and they could go that direction. Silpat for the win, absolutely. You can use a Silpat, Sonia. Great suggestion. And so whatever you want to use. You can use cake pans. If you have a rectangular cake pan, you can use a square cake pan if you're using a smaller one. So it might have higher sides, but you want it to be open and flat. You can use disposable ones, aluminum, that's fine as well. If you don't own any, you can certainly buy disposable ones. You can get creative with it. You just want to look for something that has a lot of surface area on the bottom, okay? And then the whole point of this is, yes, you could cook these recipes on the stove and have different components, but the fact you can just stick it all in the oven and be done with it is so amazing. So these are big favorites of mine on weeknights, especially because you can prep everything before you even start your day or whenever you want in the morning, and then you just pop it in the oven when you're ready, okay? Hi, Betsy from Winter Park, Florida. How's the weather there today? Is it beautiful? You all, I told you last Thursday night, I was on my way to Austin, Texas last weekend. Had the time of my life with my cousins, but it was like 98 degrees and full on humidity, and we got after it. We walked in that weather, and I'd forgotten. I know it is so different when it's humid, but boy, had I forgotten. So let me get these out of our way, and let's make the marinade for the curry. Here's what I'm gonna do. First of all, this is mine from last night. I cooked some down and chilled it because I tell you to leave a cup, put a cup aside, because it's delicious if you want to do rice noodles or rice, or like we did. I sent a recipe out to everybody this week for zoodles, those zucchini noodles with tomato sauce, but you can toss veggies in this too and treat it like pasta or any type of noodle, and it's absolutely delicious. And so I'm going to be able to cheat with that, but we're going to want our coconut milk. We're going to want some turmeric, some green curry paste. I had to laugh because I adapted this recipe from a grilling stovetop recipe to the oven, and Caitlin adapted it for me in writing, and I was like, I totally forgot I put these ingredients together. And then I tasted the marinade, and I loved it. Fish sauce, favorite ingredient. Who was I talking to about fish sauce in the meal planning class the other night? Was it Ruth? I think it might have been, but tons of flavor in this. It was you, Ruth. We're using it today, my friend. Oh, that is a delicious recipe when your garden gets out of control, Lori. Okay, so you guys are going to quiz me. Actually, I'm going to quiz myself. Oh, I'm so excited. I remembered what was in this, or I remembered the measurements, and then I'm going to tell you why I really love this recipe. We also peeled ginger the other night, and I'm going to do it again. One of my favorite things to do. So here is how I like to write recipes. You know, sometimes when you'll get a recipe, like say you're making cookies and it calls for like 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground cloves. It drives me crazy when there are tons of different measurements. And shoot me for saying this, I don't think that literally most things need to be that nuanced. Like, I don't think it makes that big of a difference. I would rather have you be able to commit some things to memory. And so this is how I wrote that recipe. It calls for 1 can of coconut milk, okay? So 13.5 ounces, just look for a can, a small can. Most of the cans of coconut milk are this size. And then I call for 2 tablespoons of fish sauce, of the green curry paste, brown sugar, and lime juice. I call for 2 teaspoons I call for 2 tablespoons of grated fresh ginger too, and then 2 teaspoons of ground turmeric, and then salt and pepper. You guys, I just like to keep it simple. It's still going to be absolutely delicious. Cooked a recent meal using a lot of turmeric. Yes. Okay. So Sandy, I have yellow nails. I have yellow all over me because of the turmeric. And parchment paper and or foil are great things to use here. KQ, is it Kirsten? I think I've finally got this figured out. I'm using full fat. You can certainly use reduced fat. What you're going to notice is that because there's not as much fat, it's just a thinner liquid, right? So you might want to reduce it a little bit longer. I don't think it really matters that much. I would care for the noodles, like if you toss noodles or rice in this sauce, I think you can taste a little bit of the difference. It's just not going to have as much like mouthfeel. Hi, Connor. Hi. So you're welcome to use light. They call it light. And I have some actually that I'll pull out later. They just take some of the fat out. Because when you buy coconut milk, like coconut milk with all of it in it, it just pulls more. If you get everything out of the coconut, it's higher in fat, right? But it's funny because you'll see that when you put coconut milk in a can, a lot of times the fat comes to the top and more of the coconut water, they call it, settles at the bottom. So if you want to use less fat, you can turn it upside down and pour the more watery part out, but the fattier part is where all the flavor is, of course, okay? So now let's get my measuring spoons out. We're going to use, what did I just say, 2 teaspoons of the turmeric, and then everything else, I know how much I need because it's going to be 2 tablespoons. And I'm going to use a teaspoon of salt. You guys, my voice is still cracking. If you aren't, Connor, I'll have all this food ready soon, or like in an hour you'll have something.
Well, I'm leaving in 40 minutes.
Oh, goodbye. I went to see Michael Franti in concert in Austin with my cousins, and it was amazing. But we sang and sang and sang, and I had no voice on Monday. Like Tuesday a little, but I'm still squawky. It's hilarious. So I'm just putting the black pepper straight in here. Remember, turmeric and black pepper, you always want to see those ingredients together because the black pepper makes the turmeric more bioavailable. Fancy word. Okay, green curry paste. I'm trying to read the ingredients without my glasses. Green chili pepper, garlic, lemongrass, spices, salt, shallot, and lime peel. You could certainly make your own, but you guys, the amount of ingredients that they use to get this flavor profile is quite large. So I love these. This is the Thai Kitchen brand. I don't think my tablespoon fits in there, so let's just use, we're going to call that a tablespoon. This is not so spicy that if I overdo it, it's going to matter. Red and green chili paste. Lori, the difference is in the chilies, and the spices can be different as well. I use a lot of them interchangeably. There's a yellow, I got a red, yellow, and green curry pastes in my fridge, so I'm happy to show you the differences. They're nuanced, right? And so if you eat a lot of them, you'll be able to tell the difference in the flavor profiles. Let me pull out the red after this. I kind of think it's like the second most popular, green and red, and I'll tell you what's in it, okay? You can absolutely swap. I think KQ, the only thing I would worry about, let's just figure this out. The green curry paste for a bit adds a great extra taste. That's a great tip, Michael. Let me get the red. I'm going to grab the yellow too. I care about sodium, and then I care about heat. Oh, one other big announcement, you guys. I was laughing so hard today because a couple of people were saying the volume is tough in these classes. Lindsay, my business partner, gave me a microphone to use with my computer like a year ago when I did a class with her, and I didn't realize that it's wireless and it doesn't have to be connected to my earbuds. So today she said, "Are you going to use your microphone?" And I was like, "I can't. I don't have earbuds." And she was like, "Amanda, it's wireless. It just, you plug it into any computer. It doesn't have to be Apple." I was so embarrassed, but I need 2 more AAA batteries to use it. So next time I'm going to have a microphone. You use, how do you pronounce that, Sonia? Mesri? You love that brand too, Ruth? That's awesome. Okay. So I want to look at sodium in both of these. Oh my gosh, my eyes. Okay, so like in the yellow curry, the sodium has 16% for the day, and this only has 4%. So I always want to look at salt. This one has 6%, right? And then spice level. It just says, I like that. On this brand, on McCalla, they mark it with just 1 chili. So it's probably not that spicy if it's on a scale of 1 to 3. Does it say on this? Green chili pepper, no. No, this one's spices, including red chili, garlic, lemongrass. They all have lemongrass. Spices, coriander, kaffir, lime. So if you went and you researched the difference between all of them, you're going to find different spice profiles for sure. But I'm sure there are different levels of heat as well. And it's super interesting. But just like curry powder, you guys, there's no set recipe for curry powder. So when you buy it at the store, it doesn't have to be the same in by brand, right? It's not like everybody has the same amount of the spices they use to combine them. In fact, some curries, spice recipes even use different spices, right? So the turmeric is normally what gives it the color, but they can vary dramatically. So the only thing I'm seeing in the yellow that's interesting is that it has more shallots, garlic. It starts with that, and galangal, Himalayan pink salt, and then dried red chili. So this is probably going to be the most mild out of all of them, okay? So taste and see what you think. Sodium will definitely depend on the brand. And isn't red typically the hottest? It is. Red chilies are typically hotter than green. So yes, but ghost pepper chilies, which are like orange, have the most Scovilles, I want to say, the measure of the heat. So you just have to know your chilies. Hence the reason why I just buy it. I just know what I like, friends. Okay, I am going to get 2 tablespoons of fish sauce, lime juice, and brown sugar. How easy is that? In we go with the fish sauce. Is there anybody who doesn't know what fish sauce actually is? They're dried anchovies that are literally put on these big flat beds and usually a lot of times put up on the top of buildings to kind of cook, dehydrate in the sun. And that's how they make it. I only did 1 tablespoon, huh? And Red Boat is a company that was started by a family who's here in the Bay Area. And they took my friend Michelle Tam and another friend of mine, Andrea, to Vietnam, to where they make it, to show them the whole process. And I heard it was absolutely amazing. In fact, we went to a dinner using Red Boat fish sauce probably 2 months ago at a place here called State Bird Provisions, which is absolutely spectacular in San Francisco. And they had fish sauce and everything. And the caramel, it's really popular to put in with caramel because the depth of flavor is amazing. They had it with oysters. They had it in the desserts. It was spectacular. Okay, I'm going to call that 2 tablespoons of lime juice because I measured a lime last night and it was 2 tablespoons. So now let's do the sugar, light brown sugar. I had to buy new sugar because I got rid of it. For my anti-inflammatory life. I fed the rest of my brown sugar to my hummingbirds. I made syrup for my hummingbirds with it. And I must have made it too sweet because they tanked it. I looked up and I was like, never have they had that much food in 2 days. It was hilarious. It's empty out there right now, so I'll make them some more. Okay, so I'm going to whisk this together. And I got the salt, pepper, turmeric, lime juice, green curry, fish sauce, and brown sugar. So whisk, whisk, whisk. I'm just going to bring it up to a simmer, and I'm going to let it cook for a couple minutes, okay? Just so it thicken a little bit. Again, if you want to use light coconut milk, instead, you certainly can. It's just going to be thinner. And then, you know what I'm going to do? Because you don't ever want to put cold food in a hot marinade. That's how you worry about foodborne illness. And so what I'll do is I'll put half of it aside to use for other things. Oh, Lori, ginger, thank you. I'll do that right now. And then I put a couple of ice cubes in the marinade to cool it down faster. And since I'm using really rich coconut milk, I don't worry about it, affecting the flavor of it too much. And so if you're in a hurry, you can do that. Or you can put it in the fridge or on an ice bath. Just like put the whole pan on a bowl of ice water and whisk it and it'll cool it down. Let's do the ginger. Lori, what would I do without you? And if anybody sees this burning behind me, please holler. Ginger grater. Can you see those little spindly things on top? They're just like, what it's going to do is it's going to catch the fibers from the ginger and it's going to grate it and it's going to leave the fibrous part behind. The part I'm most excited about is talking to you about how to peel your ginger, okay? So it's a total pain in the butt if you've never done it. But we're not going to make it be a pain in the butt. We're going to make it easy, my friends. So I'm going to show you a couple things while keeping one eyeball on my marinade. You can peel it with a peeler. Ta-da, see that, right? So I peel it kind of towards me. But the thing that's so tricky about ginger is it's so knobby that it's got all these other parts. It's like coral that requires scraping. So one thing to remember is you don't have to be perfect at this. If there's some skin left on it, don't worry about it, okay? I'm just gonna whisk this again. Ooh, it smells so good. Connor came in last night from playing basketball outside and was like, what smells so good? Yes, I'm using a spoon. Michael, I'm calling you Hermione Granger. Do you watch Harry Potter? Hermione? You're killing my punchline. If you guys know, here, I love Hermione Granger. You know it's a compliment. She's always like, I know. So the spoon, you guys, really is the best. If you have a grapefruit spoon where it's serrated at the end or on the side, it works even better. But you just peel. I'll do another piece so you can, let me turn it over, okay? I just put it in my eyeballs. You just scrape it towards you and look at that. Michael knows. Ta-da! I'm such a jerk. No, you just know all the answers. Okay, so I'm going to keep going with this. We need 2 tablespoons, which is probably, they call this, by the way, something I learned while I was in a cooking job and didn't know, like a hand of ginger. It literally is like a hand of ginger, right? So they use it as a measurement, and I was like, somebody asked me to go out to the store and get a hand of ginger, and I was so embarrassed. I had to look it up. But until you start grating it yourself, it's kind of hard to understand how much you need. So you can also chop it really finely or put it in a food processor. Double learning. So look at you. You watched Martha tell us to peel our ginger with a spoon. So we're doing it. That is so hilarious. So the ginger grater is a really great little tool. It's one of the few things, it's one of the few tools that I think is really better than anything else, because who wants to put a little bit of ginger in a food processor? And then the fibers, oops, let's turn that down. The fibers part kind of sticks with it when you do it that way. And I'll show you what happens. Oh my gosh, you guys, that marinade is stellar. In fact, I would probably do a double batch of that. I did, since I made it yesterday too. And just have it left over, keep it in your fridge for like 3 to 6 days, or freeze it, and then you can use it again. This whole meal planning thing, you guys, has got me planning ahead so much better. I'm like saving so much money at the store. My kids are so happy because we're eating better. It's really amazing when you're not looking at each other every night being like, do we need takeout? A microplane is fabulous too, Sonia. So I've got a microplane. I'll show you guys that too. That's a great suggestion. Why do I forget to use it for ginger? Use it for citrus, chocolate, garlic. Okay, so same thing. Let me make sure you guys. It's kind of satisfying. But look what is left. See those long strings? That's the fibrous part you don't want. Your ginger dries out. I buy Trader Joe's frozen crushed ginger. I've heard that's amazing. I'm going to Trader Joe's in Santa Barbara this week with my son, who only shops there when he's at college, and I'm going to look for that stuff. People swear by it. I'm actually going to price compare at Trader Joe's too, because for my meal planning class, because I know so many of you like to shop there. It's just hard because they don't sell everything. You know, they don't sell all the ingredients I call for. It's kind of hit and miss sometimes. So this is a lot of ginger. Hold on, I'm going to peel this one little piece off. So the frozen ginger cubes are probably amazing. And you wouldn't do this. And because it's frozen, I bet the flavor is amazing. I'm just going to take the fiber off the middle part, you guys. You could certainly just rinse that. But this is all the stuff you don't want. It's like chewy fiber. And the stuff that comes out the sides, just threw it in my sink, is what you want, the little tiny pieces. And it captures the juice from the ginger on the side as well, which is amazing. So Lori, big props to you. You already won a prize, and I can't give it to you anyhow. But big prize for that. Oh, you know what? This is so embarrassing. Is Crazy for Coffee's real name Carolyn? Do any of you know? She's Crazy for Coffee on Instagram. She runs a coffee business. She has coffee shops, but she is the one who made this amazing suggestion. I'm going to share it with you guys in a second. Okay, that is not 2 tablespoons. And I'm dying laughing because I'm wondering if I actually even put ginger in mine last night. They don't carry curry paste. That's what's hard about Trader Joe's is they just don't have everything. And so you guys am really aware of conserving time as well as money when I grocery shop and when I have little kids. Caroline, okay, good. Oh, that's you. Yay. Hi, Caroline. I'm going to share more inspiration from you. But so I only like to go to one grocery store if I have to, because especially with the price of gas, when I'm running around, first of all, it takes, twice as much time usually to go to 2 stores unless they're next to each other. And then you're spending more gas. And I get home, I'm like, time is money. And so I tend to just go to one store. And so that's kind of why I want to go to Trader Joe's. This week I want to give it another chance to see how many of the core ingredients I call for in these classes that they have. I'm going to dump this in and we're going to call it a day with how much ginger I used. Lori, thank goodness for Lori. You guys are keeping me honest here. I want to show you the microplane just in case, okay? All right, so you guys, Caroline, I've mentioned this a couple times. I know I've mentioned it on Instagram, so I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but she gave me a phenomenal idea. And I was already, sorry, something has popped up on my screen that I do not want. Gosh darn it. There we go. She gave me an amazing idea. I'm going to get the microphone. And I want to share it with all of you and tell you what we're going to do about it. So Caroline had suggested or reached out to say, what if you want to gift a class to somebody or donate one to someone you don't know? Which I thought was like an amazing idea. So I had thought about it on the basic level of like, by the holidays, we'd roll out a program where you can buy a class for somebody, right? So you could be like, oh yeah, I want to sign them up for an a la carte class, or I want to sign them up for House of Haas subscription for a year, right? So you could do things like that and gift it and let them know. But the thing Caroline asked me about is what if you want to give it to someone who maybe you know them and they would never treat themselves. Maybe it's people who would never be able to afford to do it. And you want to give them that gift. And it's just like the light bulb went off about all of the amazing things we could do. Don't do what I'm doing right now with the knife on the ginger. It's just really not smart. And my knife's not sharp enough to pull off that trick. But I do want to show you guys with the microplane what happens. So Caroline, I hope you're happy to know that because of that suggestion, within the next 2 weeks, we're probably going to be launching a program. You see the ginger on the other side of it? See it? So then the stuff on the bottom is what you want to keep, and the fiber gets caught on top, okay? So that's awesome. So what we're going to do is, besides being able to gift someone a class, so you could, like I said, gift them a single class, you could gift them a year's subscription, or you can gift a dollar amount. So if you just want to pay it forward to someone, we're going to get names. We're going to find people a couple ways. We're going to crowdsource about like who, Lori, about who is deserving of it. So what if it's someone like someone who wants to learn how to cook for themselves, but never takes the time to do it, or they're like, I really don't want to spend the money on the classes. You can do that. But you can also give any amount you want to pay it forward. So, and then we're going to have like this all started because I'm offering this as an auction item at a golf tournament for Steph and Aisha Curry in a week, where we're going to auction off like a House of Haas class, right? But the whole point is, like, for those people who want to just donate a huge amount, it's like if you want to give $10 or if you want to give $10,000, you understand how much it's paying to like sponsor someone to be in the class. And so I think we're going to do all kinds of dollar amounts. We don't want anybody thinking they have to do huge ones. And we're eventually going to figure out how to tie it in where if somebody gets a scholarship for the meal planning piece of things, that we would send them the groceries they need for that class as well. But we're first just going to start with people like identifying who we want to gift these classes to. And so like for any large dollar amount, we'll be like, for X amount, you're giving 100 scholarships, right? And there'll be reduced prices off of House of Haas. But, and then we'll have the other model where it's like, you can gift anyone directly you want, or you can gift people you don't even know, and we'll share with you where it's going and who gets to take advantage of the program. So I am so excited, and this is all because Caroline got us moving on it. So this week, not only on Tuesday are we announcing my first guest chef class, and there's a mega discount for you guys, but we're also going to try to pull off the gifting portion of the website. So we'll be up to our fourth way to engage with House of Haas, which I am just absolutely thrilled about. So, Sandy, that's amazing. I am so grateful for all of you, and my business partner, Lindsay, who just like, I throw her these ideas and she's like, awesome, let's do it this week. She is so incredible. So I'm so grateful for all of you. And thank you, Caroline, for the suggestion. I can't wait to share it with you first and show it to you. And it'll be a work in progress, of course, but you inspired me so much, and I'm so grateful for people like you. So thank you so much. Okay, let's make some curry, shall we? Let me get my cutting board over here that I want to use. And 140. These are going to come together in no time, you guys. So let's do this. I want to get my marinade that is already chilled, so you guys can see this. Let me put this in something to show you as well. I think it ends up being about 2 cups of marinade. See how mine is still turmeric-y from yesterday? The more you wash it, it eventually comes out, but everything's yellow in here. So I'll just pop a couple of ice cubes into this whole thing because I'm not in a hurry to use this part. Let me grab a couple. And this is really thick, like I said, because of the whole coconut milk. This is just gonna like cool it down a little bit faster. It's not gonna do the entire job, but let's just do the little television trick where I pick up the other one that I've already done. While I'm doing this, Michael, was that last night or is that tomorrow that you were going? Weren't you going to a barbecue where they were doing ribs and all kinds of fun stuff? Tell us about that. Or is it tomorrow? I'm gonna put this in a bowl so my chicken and the other vegetables I'm going to use with the marinade can all sit in this. Oh, it's all tomorrow, the baby shower and the and everything else. Okay, I'm going to chop up the veggies I want in here too, and then I'll do the chicken. I've got some potatoes. I did sweet potatoes last night, which were amazing, but I just kind of feel like doing something different tonight. So that. I've got peppers in the other dish, so I'm not going to do those. I have some green beans I was going to bring out, but I'm just going to show you a couple things. If you wanted to cut green beans into like 1.5 to 2 inch pieces, they'd be delicious in this. And then I tell you to cut the chicken into, I think, like 1.5 or 2 inch pieces to cook. But I think with the way I did it last night and the size of things being diced, I might cook the chicken breasts whole. Let's see how big they are. They're pretty small. And they're boneless. Okay, so I'm just cutting these into like 1/2 inch pieces. I had this 1/2 of an onion I already had. And then, you know what? You know how I said I'm going to put this all in a bowl? No, I'm going to let it marinate on the sheet pan that I'm going to be cooking it on, because what I wanted to test for you all last night was if I let a lot of the marinade go onto the pan, what was going to happen to the foil? Does it burn? Is it too much sugar because of the brown sugar in it? And it actually didn't get that bad. And so I'm just not going to use a ton of the marinade on it. And I'm going to cook it with all of the marinade I used to let it sit in for like an hour. Not even an hour, 30 minutes here. Ribs and brisket. He has a wood-fired pizza. Oh, my favorite. And probably some accidental calzones. Yum. Hi, where are you going? Oh, you just need to be back by 4:30.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have fun. Tell them hi. 4:30 at the latest.
What are we doing?
I'm taking my car tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Goodbye.
I love you.
Love you too. Okay, that's enough onion. Watch this. Seriously, let's just put this on a sheet pan, shall we? And not dirty another pan. Now, here's the thing I love about these two. It's the method you just have to learn, but you can do these up or down for size proportions, right? So if you're cooking for one or two, you just add as much or as little as you want to eat. Yesterday, I did this twice with the, bye honey. That onion's making me cry. Yesterday, I did this twice I did a half batch for myself and then of the polenta one. And then I did a whole version last night and I did it on 2 sheet pans. So it's really, it's fun to be able to move up and down with them. You just want the flavor profile from the marinade. So like I said, you can certainly make a bigger or smaller batch of that. I'd call this potato, by the way. It's not an inch. It's not a half an inch. Somewhere in between. Any other questions while I'm doing this? Let me make sure I haven't missed any questions. I've got my mouse here. How are you? Sweetened or unsweetened coconut milk? Victoria, I want to show you the labeling. There's no added sugar with it, but with coconut flakes, you'll see a lot, like sweetened coconut flakes, which have a ton of sugar added to them. That's not the case with these. There's my potato. I'm going to just put that around. Here's the coolest part about this too. You guys can add as much of each ingredient as you want, right? So if you want this to be more vegetarian, you can just use more vegetables. If you want more of the meat cooked, just do more meat or more tofu. Since I'm only doing 1 sheet pan of this, I'm probably going to just chop. Let me do 1 more potato since I'm going to take it to my friend's house. And then I'm going to go light on the chicken because we're going to have the polenta one as well. I'm so excited for that one, you guys. Okay, I love both of these though. They're so different. Okay, so potato, a little more. I can't help but use these. And then let's take a look at the chicken. And I'm going to decide how much of that I'm going to use. Or if I'm going to dice it into smaller pieces. Potentially yes, potentially no. I'm going to get my wooden cutting board out of here because I don't want my chicken to be on the wood cutting board. I want to do it on a plastic one that's easier to clean when you're dealing with raw poultry. Clean as I go, clean as I go. I'm terrible about it. Oh, coconut cream is sweet, milk is not. So that's the other thing. They now sell coconut cream. There's a couple things. Coconut cream that they sell like for cocktails that has added sugar, but then they also are marketing it now. Such a marketing ploy is coconut cream, which is the cream from the top of the coconut milk that I was talking about. So it's just like whole milk, you know, if you get real whole milk and the cream settles at the top. So now they sell that in these tiny cans that's really popular for dessert, and they don't add sugar to that. Then they sell the milk where it's got everything from the fattest to the thinnest. And then they sell light coconut milk, which means that they're not putting a lot of the fat part in, okay? So it's very confusing. For this, you don't want to buy anything with added sugar in it, okay? It should just be coconut milk, or they say the cream from the coconut on the can if you're doing something where you only want the creamy part, okay? All right, let's take a look at this. Where did I put my plastic cutting board. Let's see. Did I put it away, folks? Wouldn't that be a miracle? No, but here's another one that is easy clean. Okay, so the butcher said these are thin, and he's right. Oops, they're still in their bag. They fell on the floor, but they're still in their bag. We've recovered them. These are not going to take a long time to cook. I'm going to roll the dice and leave these whole. And so I'm going to serve them whole. Are the vegetables going to cook too quickly or burn while I'm cooking these? I'm going to gamble and say not really. Let's see if I'm right. This is where it's going to get messy, and I'm going to wash my hands really well after this. Okay, yummy, yummy, yummy. The color of this is so amazing. I was going to add eggplant too. Eggplant would be amazing. Tomatoes would be delicious in this. But because I've evenly diced the onions and the potatoes, they're going to cook kind of evenly, which I like too. And in about 15 minutes, I'm going to check this whole thing. The recipe says 400. I've only got my oven on 375 because it's convection, and that tends to be a little hotter. Plus, with all of the brown sugar in this marinade, I think I'm just going to I'm going to have you guys adjust it to 375 if we like what it looks like afterwards, okay? So please excuse my curry hands. Let me get rid of this. Everything's yellow. We should play that song by Coldplay. It was all yellow. Gosh, you guys, I get an A for cleaning. Okay, there's nothing worse than me finishing a class and realizing I've made such a humongous mess that I can't go anywhere for a while. Okay, normally I would let this marinate. You could actually put it in a bowl and refrigerate it all day if you want. Little potatoes in all kinds of colors would be beautiful. If you are cutting it, let me show you, okay? I'm going to put this straight into the oven and let's see what happens. It just won't be as flavorful. Okay. I don't know why. I'm really into putting things in the oven for 12 minutes to start before I check it and see if it needs to be stirred. Okay, Sonia, did you ask what size should the chicken be if you're cutting it? The chicken is going to cook if you cube it like this, it's going to cook in like 10 to 12 minutes. So I think doesn't the recipe call for strips? I don't think I like strips. I think I want a dice that is, and this is how I test recipes, you guys. I take the first idea and I keep changing it to simplify it and get it to where I like it. I think I would dice it to be like the same size as a sweet potato or a regular potato I'm using because they're going to cook in about the same amount of time. The chicken might even cook faster. But like, I find it annoying when you serve a dish 1/4 inch by 2 inch pieces. So it's more like fajita style, right? Which is really popular for some reason when people talk about sheet pan meals. So you can certainly do that. Like, so I'm going to take this piece of chicken, which is probably more like 5 inches, but watch what I'll do. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to cut it in half, and then I'm going to slice it into pieces that are more like 2 inch, right? This cooks really quickly. So faster than the vegetables, I would say. So, and for this recipe, I really don't want to have two. Now I dropped a piece of chicken and I dropped it for real. Hey, that one has to go. I want just to use one sheet pan for this dish. So if I were doing it like I'm going to do the polenta and use 2 sheet pans, it'd be okay to do the strips of chicken on one and the veggies on the other, just so you can cook them for different amounts of time. It's still fast, right? And you're still only dirtying two pans that have been covered and you're not having to cook, with separate vessels. But I think I'm going to vote for my diced version. And then I would cook it for the same amount of time that I cook the vegetables. Does that help? Okay, good. Little thing, what else have I missed? What size chicken be? I feel like you asked a question, Lori, a little ways back that I missed. Is that true or possible? Let me just put this in something to keep this chicken safe. I'm not touching anything with my chickeny hands until I wash it. I'm going to put all of this. You know what I'm going to do with this now that I've cut it? I'm going to make skewers, kebabs. That's going to be awesome. All right. It's funny how, even though this is like one of the simplest classes, it just takes a little bit longer to show you and walk you through them. I mean, these recipes couldn't be any easier. So if you're thinking about doing it at home, you can think about like, okay, I could make that marinade, right, and reduce it and have it in the fridge for whenever. You could marinate things a day or two before. When you were making the marinade, can you substitute maple syrup for brown sugar? Absolutely. I think I might even use a little bit less maple syrup, Lori, just because it is so intensely sweet. I do a tablespoon of maple syrup for 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to get the other cutting board. I'm laughing because my cutting board that I was looking for is right in front of me, and it has the ginger stuff on it. So I'm going to wipe this down. And then I'm going to use this one for the polenta. Let's get started on the sausage and peppers and polenta. And we're going to put that baby in the oven as soon as this other one comes out. And when I say this is easy, you guys, oh my word. More than anything, I just wanted to show you how I chop things. Let me just get this chicken covered. And then I'll marinate it. I'll probably just put it in more of the same marinade that I just made, and I'll grill it. I'll do little skewers on the grill with vegetables added to it. Red onion, you could put herbs in there. You could add mint. You could add basil. That would be beautiful. Okay, so let's do it. Okay, this recipe calls for mild Italian sausage. Normally, I buy them out of the case at Whole Foods where they make them all the time. I think this was like $8.99. This is what I got at my local store, Diablo Foods, which I love so much. So these are freshly made, right? So they have not been cooked. Then, folks, we've got something like the sausage that's already been cooked, and you're basically just reheating it, right? So I tried it both ways yesterday, too. I'm such a goofball. My kids loved the chicken apple sausage with it. I think the Italian sausage profile is probably more popular for most people. So I'm going to use these and show you what happens. Here's the crazy part. I cooked the chicken apple ones. I sliced them into little pieces and just roasted them for I put them on at the end. I roasted them for 10 to 15 minutes. And these cook the whole time, right? So it just totally depends on what you want to do. But for this one, I'm going to put on one plate, I'm going to do peppers, onions, and the sausages. We're going to put those in first. And then on the other pan, we're going to do the polenta and the tomatoes. And at the end, we'll finish it all with some basil, okay? So let's cut some peppers. And like I said, I realized I wanted more than I had. And I'm kind of okay if they're close together for this recipe because they steamed and tasted more like sauteed, which I loved because they kind of melt in your mouth, right? By the way, does anybody need a break? Like a quick break? It's 1:58. Shall I sit here for a couple of minutes and give you all a chance to go fill up your glass? If you need to. Or if anybody else has any other questions. We, says Betsy. Betsy, take a break. I'm just going to slice some things, but I'll show you guys how to do that when you're back as well. So let me just start doing some of the process I'm going to show you all. How do I manage to use everything in my kitchen every time I cook? It's really crazy. One second. It's actually pretty funny. I don't think Jenny is on today. Jenny Hawkins is the one who won the knives. And she was so excited. I wonder if she's received them yet. I know they shipped them. Diane! You're so sweet. Thank you, my friend. You guys were being watched again. Diane is my dear friend who's the founder of Diane's Bloody Marys, which are spectacular. But her husband is Chef Michael Mina. Let's say it, one of the best chefs in the world. And not just in my opinion. Diane, hopefully he's not spying on us today, right? Let's just say no to that. We're taking a quick break. So if anybody needs to run to the restroom, if you need to refill your glass with whatever you're drinking, I hope people are enjoying their afternoons. Oh no, you're sick in bed? Oh, he's sick in bed. That's what happens when you run yourself ragged. I'm going to sound like a mother, right? I get to see him next week. He better be healthy. Can you guys see what I'm doing with this pepper, by the way? People are like, how do you cut it without all the seeds flying everywhere? Can you see how there are these like natural sections? I'm going to show you guys this again. If you're away from your computer, I'm going to do it again. I'm just cutting straight down, cutting those sections off and leaving the seeds in the middle, which is a much easier way to do it. And then I just cut, if there's any part of the bottom left, I just kind of cut that off and I eat it. Diane, I love it that every time he's sick, you have to come in and make the soup and take care of Chef. Was that, I saw you making awesome, was it chicken soup or were you just making an incredible broth the other day? Okay, friends, for those of you who are coming back and you see what I did, yeah, that stock looked amazing, Diane. Here's what I'm doing to cut a pepper. I cut straight down and I cut these little segments off, right? And I hold this as kind of my security. And then what happens is you leave the ribs and the seeds in the middle. If the ribs, this white part, if they attach to the outside, don't worry, we'll pull it out, or you can use a paring knife to cut it off. It doesn't taste good. This sounds funny, you guys. No, it doesn't sound funny. If you like to eat, you'll be like, ooh, cool. But at one of Chef Mina's restaurants, it's called Ornos. There's one here in San Francisco, and I believe there's one in Florida as well. Do I have that right, Diane? Oh, and you do it at some of your other restaurants. They have a crudité platter on ice, served on the crushed ice that's like the good ice for drinks, where every piece of vegetable is served standing up, and they blanched it in like ice cold water. So it's the crispiest veggies you've ever had in your life. They're absolutely spectacular. I'm pulling that part out, okay? So if you are really good with knife skills, I'm missing my paring knife, but what you can do is you can go through and you can cut, this knife is not good right now. You can cut the rib off like that, right? So you cut the little white part out and you would go through on all of these and you would hold it and you would just cut that part right off and cut away from yourself. Now, any seeds that are left, you can just scrape them off at this point because there aren't so many, like if you had the inside of it, right? So I'm just going to get rid of those seeds, and then I'm going to run a knife through these faster than you can say bell pepper. He also has restaurants in LA and Long Beach. Oh, right, he absolutely does. And you know what? I bet at Bungalow in Long Beach, they serve the crudité as well. I could be absolutely wrong about that. Here we go. I'm going to slice bell peppers. You guys, sharp knives make all the difference. If you try to slice through something on the skin part and your knife is like, I can't get through without putting a lot of pressure on it, you need to get your knife sharpened. I move from the inside out. I like this side to cut through this side more. Is that Charlie Haas? Hi, welcome back. Did you go? Say hi to House of Haas. Were you gone for a long time?
Hour.
Oh.
Not long time.
Time flies when you're having fun here, right? Diane Lena says, hi, Charlie. Oh, you're going to get to see Michael. You guys, I want to show you this. Diane, I'm bringing Charlie as my date to the event where Michael's cooking. My sweet son gets to see all the people he's excited about. Okay, this is what we've got so far. It's steaming because, like I said, everything's so close together. If things were farther apart, you get more browning, which is just totally depends on what you want, okay? I'm going to use my spatula to kind of move things around here. And I'm being careful only because the foil, like I said, tears so easily, so I'm being really gentle with this. And I'm going to flip this. This chicken breast, you guys, like I said, it's practically done. That was 12 minutes. Oh my God. The potatoes need a few more minutes. I don't think the chicken's gonna dry out, but let's see what happens. I'm gonna just like push the envelope right now. If it dries out in like the next 6 minutes, I'll be like, okay, I should have pulled it at 12, right? I can tell without an instant read thermometer that this chicken's done because when I push on it, it like, you can tell that it's firmer, right? Which means it's cooked inside. It doesn't like allow you to mush your finger in. But my instant read thermometer is in another part of the house. Otherwise, I would grab it. So we're rolling the dice. Let's see here, folks. Let's set it for. I'm just curious if I'm going to get any more color. Okay. This is perfect timing because the polenta and everything else is going to be ready to go in the oven in like 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to keep chopping these peppers while that cooks. And like I said, if you have 2 sheet pans and you have the ability to put them both in your oven at once, then I love making a ton of this. I think this recipe calls for 2 bell peppers, maybe 2 of each color. But I absolutely love the pepper onion part because you can roast these. And even if you didn't do anything else to go with it, and you could have them ready to go for sandwiches. So like a cheesesteak, like I said, oh my God, so good. I'll make Connor the cheesesteak version of this later. Just get those seeds out, right? You can certainly pull up, if there's any of the edge, just pull it down so it's all flat, okay? You'll notice I continue to use my little claw fingers so I can't cut my fingers off on the cutting board. Okay. I'm going to start moving these to a sheet pan. Since I'm making a mess, we're taking up a lot of space. Diane, it's so funny because I always want to call your husband Chefy since you do. If we want more color, would we use 400? Lord, what you would do actually, yes, you can use 400, but then just spread them out more, right? So you can use 400 and just give them a little room to breathe. I'm going to load this up and they're going to steam. So it's more about leaving some space between your ingredients than anything. But yeah, 400 will definitely crisp them up faster as well. I don't like that. I'm going to just cut away. Okay. Any other questions while I slice? I'm going to slice the onions. I think in the recipe it calls for diced onions. Again, friends, make a note. If you want them sliced, slice them. I thought it was weird that the recipe called for diced onions instead of sliced because don't you want all of these like easy to eat in the same size? I do. Okay. Love it. And then I can't wait to show you the polenta tomato trick because I forgot me your Chefy. That's so sweet. That's your name for him, right? Everybody else is like, yes, chef. I had Chef Thomas Keller called me chef once, and I nearly fainted because he was in the test kitchen at Williams-Sonoma. I'm like, I'm not a chef. And he said, I'm in your kitchen. You're chef. And I was like, yeah, no. let me cook for you. You can see. But it's such a respect thing, you know? And yes, he's your chefy because he's your hubby. Only you get to call him chefy. Anybody else would get canned, right, Diane? Okay, guys, so let me put some onion in with this, and then it's gonna wilt down. And so you're gonna want more, trust me. Last night, I could have just eaten this. All right, I'm gonna cut my onion in half through the root again, because I wanna slice it into half moons. So when you keep the root there, it keeps it together until you slice it. Yeah, a chef is a leader in the kitchen. You got that right, Diane. I can lead. I could certainly lead, but I'm probably a better teacher than, no, I mean, I'm just trying to think of myself in the kitchen. Yes, thank you. I see what you're getting at, but in terms of having the discipline to keep everything clean and like keep things coming out quickly and on time, I don't think I would have that figured out. But it is totally a thing of respect when you're in somebody else's space, right? Your chef, it just felt a little ridiculous because with people in the room, I'm like, if you want to go through the pecking order, I'm pretty sure you're chef. But I love it. It's kind of cool. Okay. I'm being very careful as I slice that last piece because it's not stable, right? You know how I'm always talking about cutting, making sure you've got a flat surface on the bottom so food can't rock. I'm also a huge fan of cutting up and not down toward your fingers, because when you cut down toward your fingers, right? So these last couple pieces, I'm really careful. Okay, so watch how easy this is. And then Lori, will you keep me honest? I'm gonna put olive oil on this. Does it tell me anything else but salt and pepper? I'm gonna take out the other chicken. Let's see. The chicken's done. I'm taking the chicken out, and I'm gonna put the veggies back in for a second. If you cut it, the chicken would be done so quickly as well. If you were using bone-in chicken, you probably want to go 30, 40 minutes. Let's just keep these going. Oh, yummy! Okay. All right. Okay, keep me honest here. The cherry tomatoes and the polenta are going to go on the other sheet. You gave up on chicken breasts, except for sous vide. Always seem to dry them out. Okay, for some reason, I love chicken thighs because exactly the reason you're saying, especially bone in, right? They just, you get so much more flavor and they're juicier. I will say the first time someone cooked me a boneless, skinless chicken breast on a Traeger, my mind was blown. It had so much flavor, it was insane. Okay, here's what I'm doing. We're calling this 2 tablespoons of oil. Salt, you want plenty of salt and pepper on the onions and the peppers because they're so sweet. Without it, they just taste sugary, right? So here's what I'm gonna do. This is just one of the 2 sheet pans. I'm gonna take the sausages and I'm gonna do the uncooked ones on here. Boom, nestle. I did not poke them at all when I started cooking them yesterday. I was worrying about them exploding, right? Or if I pricked them at the beginning that all the juice would come out. You could certainly give them like 1 prick or 2, but I didn't need to. They were absolutely fine without. I'm just getting a little oil on those too. See how I don't really care? If you guys are really watching your fat intake, like all calories, you could use a little olive oil sprayer or brush things with olive oil, and then you don't have to worry about it being too much. I'm gonna put this in the oven while my other veggies finish. That's the beauty of a double-decker. Okay, let's talk polenta. You guys, I love this polenta so much. I hadn't been using polenta in a long time, and now I'm in love with it again. Okay, I'm just gonna flip this over. because I'm doing more vegetable stuff. I don't have to worry. And let me grab it. It calls for a pound, I believe. And this is 24 ounces, so a pound and a half. This is sold very often in like the dried rice and pasta section, and it's down on the very bottom. Lori, this could be your new go-to. It's so good. You can cook polenta yourself on the stove with water or milk. It can take a long time, and it requires constant stirring. You can do a baked version if you want. And you can serve it soft, right? So you can serve it almost like a pudding when you serve it soft, like a bowl of it. And it's a great base for things like braises with beef and sauce because it soaks up all those juices. But then when people cook it in advance and they package it, it's firm. And so you eat it like pieces, like it can be a little serving vessel. Like picture it as something like that where you can fry it in olive oil and serve something on it. But it can just be like your starchy version of something. And you can kind of pile all the other ingredients on top of it. And so that's exactly what I do for this recipe. And it goes really well with any kind of cheese. So we're going to sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on it. So I'm just cutting this up into circles. This can all be done the morning of, you guys, and put on a sheet tray and ready to go. You can use little half sheet pans. You can do this on its own. Like, when you see what I'm going to do and how easy it is, it's like, oh my God, once you taste it, I hope you're blown away. Let's get that mess out of here as well. Again, all I can think about now is I'd be fired. Hilarious. Okay. I think I would have to try to get by on personality in a kitchen, in a professional kitchen, but I don't know how far that would get me. Okay, I'm going to show you one trick. Because it's going on to foil, and foil is not really non-stick, polenta can stick. So I'm going to just brush some olive oil on the bottom of this pan and make sure it's good. I am not a fan of silicone brushes. I much prefer the actual boar bristle brushes. They're so non-stick. Like for barbecue sauce, things don't even stick to it to brush on. But see, that's just like such a polite little way to make sure that the polenta doesn't stick, okay? So we'll try to make this look sassy and organized. This is going to be calculated casual. You know how I feel about that. You make it look really put together, but you can just be like, oh, I just threw this together. It's no big deal. Lori, I'm so excited for you to try polenta. So as I was saying, you can find this a lot of times. It can be at room temperature like this. Sometimes you'll find it in the refrigerated section. At Diablo Foods yesterday where I was, they had some in the produce section at the very top, and it was refrigerated. And then they had some in the pasta rice section too. Lori, look up cooking polenta in the oven. Easy way to cook it for a crowd. Oh, that's such a great hack, Michael. Okay, I'm going to squeeze more on here because I know we have the tomatoes. Okay, let's get all of it on here so I can take it to my friend for dinner too. And honestly, when you do this with the cheese, you guys, it's so flippin' delicious. You can just snack on it. All right. I'm going to drizzle a little more olive oil over the top of these. I'm going to try not to do too much, so I'm going to like half. Trader Joe's sells polenta like this. Whole Foods sells a really popular brand of it, which is, the name's escaping me, but it's down at the very bottom under risotto. It's under the risotto and rice. Like the corn isn't under the pasta. It's next to the other popular starchy foods. Just brushing those a little bit. It can be really neutral tasting if they haven't added much salt. It can be sweet, because it's corn. Oh, you've always wondered. Okay, so the shiny side up actually reflects heat more in an oven, and so it can burn more. So if you're ever using it, it's such a good question, Caroline. Like for lasagna, shiny side down. Okay, I like the other side up. If you're using it to get a suntan in Phoenix, Arizona, like I used to do when I was 12 years old, shiny up. Isn't that horrific? We used to put tinfoil around us and put baby oil on our skin. on top of being in 110 degrees. But yeah, I like the matte side. I call it the matte side up. I didn't even pay attention here because I'm covering it so much with food. Okay, cherry tomatoes. So if you are serving this in like one dish and you have like a Le Creuset pan or something big where you're like, ta-da, and everything's still on the pan, you could certainly like scatter these better. I'm just gonna kind of put my tomatoes over here. I'm taking the stems off if you wanna look really calculated, rustic, with the iodine and the baby oil. Oh my God, I didn't even know that. Betsy, Bain de Soleil will literally, if somebody put that in front of my nose, I would have a flashback that is just insane. I loved the smell of it. And I like the smell of Hawaiian tropic too. I'm a nut. I no longer worship the sun like I used to. I mean, I can't remember the last time I tried to like stay in the sun for a tan. I lasted like 8 minutes. Let me get the other sheet pan. Ta-da! Mmm, these potatoes. Yummy. All of them. Mm-hmm. Could you understand what I was saying? All of this. Yum, yum. Okay. You love red onions raw. Oh my God, I do love the red ones too, Diane. That's so funny. I love all onions, but I really like the red. The smell of coconut oil and copper tone. What is it? Does it change flavors? I'm looking. Oh, when you roast red onions instead of doing them raw, Diane. Yes, believe it or not, they get sweeter. I think I can tell the difference. I should do a blind test, you guys, between like a yellow, white, or red onion cooked. I would be so curious. What's the secret to picking sweet red onions? I will get back to you with that. I don't know if I have a great answer for that. I was just going to get this in the oven first. And then I'm going to put the basil on, you guys, at the end, okay? I'm just going to put fresh basil leaves over this whole dish when I serve it. Can you see how I'm kind of moving the tomatoes around so I get the salt on all sides of them? I'm being very thorough for you all. In a perfect world, I would put this in 15 minutes after I put the sausage and the onions in. I'm just putting it in so we can kind of move through this quickly, right? Are Vidalia onions really sweeter? Most people think so, yes. Lori, I have never like eaten all of the onions all together. I'm putting a little salt on the polenta as well, but you can salt the polenta at the end. It has a decent amount of salt in it as it is, but I'm also going to add Parmesan cheese to it. So that's why I'm kind of holding off, Sandy. Okay. Since I jumped ahead, I'm setting a timer for 7 minutes just to see what it looks like. Because how long do we think the sausages have been in with the onions and the peppers? Like 5 to 7 minutes? I just thought it would be fun to be cooking 2 things at once, and now I'm realizing that was kind of stupid because the timing on this one is so great and that you can cook everything for 15 minutes and then, or the peppers and the sausage and the onions, and then you put the polenta in for that last part, right? But oh well. If you wanted to do this trick with the pre-cooked sausages, you could do them whole or you can slice them into little rounds, and I would put them in for just the last like 10 to 15 minutes of cooking, and they crisp up really beautifully, and it was just so dang easy. It was awesome. So why don't I do this? I'm going to put this together on a serving platter and show you how gorgeous it can be, and I'm going to drizzle a little bit more of the sauce over it to show you, and it's going to be pretty. Let me get something for serving. Let's see. I know what I can use. I'm definitely going to add some color to this, and I'm going to add some more of the sauce that was cooked. Flatter onions tend to be sweeter. Soak the onions in water for 20 minutes. Take some of the bite out so they are sweeter. So I like to do that a lot with any onions that I'm serving in a salad. It's a great suggestion. It just takes a little bit of the bite out. But that's so interesting. Flatter onions tend to be sweeter. I'm thinking I just saw Cipollini's at the store today, you know, those little tiny flat ones. So that's such an interesting thought. Wow. So Michael, how do you judge the sweetness of a red versus a yellow versus a white? I put red at kind of the top of the sweetness category. This is so good, you guys. That's just the cooked down marinade. I'm gonna do this. Pretend there's rice noodles or rice on here, okay? I'm just gonna do a big thing of the vegetables, chicken on top, and then I'm gonna drizzle some of the sauce and garnish with basil. And I'm gonna use kind of my hands right here because I can. This is gonna be beautiful. I'll show you one other trick. Yummy. Okay. You know what's interesting? Like I know already that I want like double that amount of vegetables. That's all the vegetables on that pan, right? So think about how many people you're making this for. And if you are serving more than one or two, I would do an extra sheet pan and just dedicate it to the veggies and let them cook longer than the chicken. And you could just do the little chicken pieces on one pan. That would be fine. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to try this. I'm gonna have to just dig in and take a big bite. But let's put some green on this plate too, because I would be so sad if it was just yellow and there was nothing to brighten it up. Okay. I'm seeing everybody talk onions, which is delightful. Yeah, more veg for sure, Ruth. So how much did the recipe call for? That's the other thing, since I was just messing around and showing you guys that, you know, like how much you want to fill up a sheet pan versus giving space to your veggies. If you can layer pans in your oven or you have time to cook one pan after the other, then you can just completely add or take away the amounts of vegetables or protein you want. No, you know what, Lori? That's not a silly question at all. People ask me this all the time. I bought regular, which is Genovese basil, which is basically like what they grow in Italy. I call it regular. Thai basil is delightful, different fragrance, a little more intense, but I'm just going to use regular basil. I do use them when I'm cooking Thai or any other Asian-inspired recipes I have that call for Thai basil. I usually just, if I can find it, great. If not, I just use regular basil. There's beautiful purple basil, you know, so you can do all kinds of things with it. Wish you had a smell-o-vision. Deb, what are you saying about it's going over the noodles, though? The rest of the marinade? Or did I miss another question? See how I'm rolling up my basil leaves? And then I'm going to do the little fancy French term of chiffonade. So I'm going to cut my little rolled cigarette of basil. Boom, 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 boom. And then since they're going to be really long strands, I'm going to cut them in half the other direction. Yes, they are. And I'll show you, first trick he taught you. I'll show you which noodles I like to use. I bought them. And I'll tell you why I like them. So fancy, huh? But a sharp knife will slice right through that. You can tell that I already need to sharpen my knives because look what happened. When I cut through this, it didn't cut all the way without a lot of pressure. And so you need really sharp knives. Unless what happens is it bruises the herbs. And so the herbs turn a funny color. I don't want to do too much basil. I don't want it to be completely covered. Lori, there were tons of varieties at the farmer's market. You know what's funny is like you can always ask to taste a leaf of it too. And so you can understand the differences. I just want a little basil on there. I'm doing it from high up because if you do it from lower, just like salt, you'll get these super clumpy areas of it with too much, right? If I had tiny basil leaves, it would look so pretty to just pluck a couple of those off and serve the whole leaves on here. But yummy, right? Very impressive. I would love bone-in chicken thighs with this. That'd probably be my first pick. You know what else? I'm gonna have to try tomorrow. A whole roasted chicken with this marinade would be insanely delicious. And I just bought a whole roasted chicken. I'm doing it. Oh my God, I'm doing it. I'm inventing a new recipe. Love a good chiffonade. It's so fancy. Isn't it fancy? And it's so easy once you learn how to do it. Okay, we have 30 minutes left in class, which is amazing because we're not going to need all the time. We can just hang out. Shrimp and would be awesome. Those would take like 8 minutes to cook. So fast. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to flip. I'm going to turn the sausages over, okay? You don't even really have to. I'm just trying to get a little color on them. That one flipped back. And then I'm going to gently stir the onions and the peppers around them, trying not to break the foil, okay? And I'll put it right back in the oven. I'll use a wood spoon. This is gentle. If you can see me, like, I'll use this to stir. Okay, and then let's put these back in. Oh, yummy. Yummy, yummy, yummy. This is amazing. Delicious. And then, because I don't want to keep opening and closing the oven quite so much, I'm going to do my Parmesan cheese right now. Asking me if I want a new session. No, we're going to have plenty of time to finish here in 30 minutes. So let me put this down on something safe, which is, you guys, my cousin Amy, I was hoping she would be on here today. The one I visited in Austin last weekend. Look at what she gave me. She knows I love these obnoxious things. It looks so sweet, and then it's not sweet at all. Okay, so I'm going to turn this polenta. Let's use something kind and gentle. It softens up, okay? So it gets softer, and then it crisps on the outside as you leave it in the oven. This is a ridiculous tool to be using, but this is how much I don't want to dirty something else. Just ignore my bad ways, you guys. So all I'm going to do is flip these and then put some Parmesan cheese on top of them. And what's going to happen is they're going to just get all melty and delightful. And in terms of, we were talking about shrimp for that other recipe, you guys, you can change the protein on this recipe as well. You can use whatever you like. I love the sausage pepper combo, but it would be so delicious to do like a Italian marinated flank steak or skirt steak or tri-tip. And, you know, skirt steak, you could cook really thinly and just cook those pieces quickly on a sheet pan with it in like 4 to 6 minutes. Or if you wanted to cook, you know, like grill a whole piece of meat and then just do all of the sides to go with it on a sheet pan. Delicious. Let me get my Parmesan cheese. I bought grated and shredded. For some reason, I like the shredded for this, like the bigger pieces, right? I'm just gonna get generous. Ooh. Oh, now I'll have basil for this as well. Perfect. Planned it that way. I can't wink without looking so obvious. Be like, I planned it that way. Never been able to wink. Well, at least not in a flirty way. Okay. I'm going to put this back in the oven to finish. And then we'll have a little time to chat. And you can ask me questions while we wait for this to finish. And I'm going to taste that dang curried one. Delicious. Okay. I'm going to put this away since I already have some of the basil chiffonade for this. You would be proud of me. I saved a tri-tip for the Traeger. Amazing. Amazing, amazing. Okay, back in the oven you go. Sorry, moving things around. Yeek. Okay. One last timer set. Okay. Let's talk about anything you'd like. I just put that back in for about 10 minutes, and everything should be done at the same time, which is the best part about these sheet pan dinners. And if I didn't mention it enough, my point to you is you guys can do these on the grill too. If you have a Traeger or a charcoal grill where you can maintain temperature, a gas grill is a little scary because you can't really control the flame coming up onto a sheet pan. But everything else is fantastic. Anne is asking me a question. Let me get my mouse. Do you ever buy a whole basil plant and use instead of buying the individual package? Is the flavor as good? Yes, absolutely. The flavor is terrific. And my friend Carolyn just did the cutest little Instagram video on how to cut basil off the plant and keep it pretty. That she cuts the leaves right where the next stem is growing, and it just keeps them like blooming really nicely. So I'm a huge fan of not buying packaged herbs. So using the plant, and you can keep the plants right in your kitchen if you get enough sunlight, or growing them outside, but absolutely, Anne. Yes, tri-tips have a different name on the East Coast as well, but it's definitely a Western thing. Santa Maria tri-tip. Timers are so important. Using a Traeger is a great option when it's 105 degrees here. Yeah, I was dying earlier in the week here, and I did everything on my Traeger. And now that I got wise and I moved my Traeger, the one I use the most, to the shade, it's amazing. Yeah, exactly, Michael. It's like trimming roses or lemons or anything else. Shall I take a bite, you guys? I'm going to try to describe the flavors of this really well. Oh, I wanted to grate some lime zest over it for like an extra little kick of lime without the acid of the juice. Even with boring, boneless, skinless chicken breast, this is packed with flavor. And you guys, I didn't even let it marinate. I just like threw it in the oven. If it sat for a couple hours, oh my gosh. But don't limit yourself to this unless you're really wanting to eat boneless, skinless breast for health reasons, right? Think chicken thighs, bone in, skin on chicken thighs, chicken breast. Or you could do this with a roast chicken and roast it whole for probably, well, depending on how big the chicken is. I would roast it at more like 350 instead of 400 because you don't want it to burn with all the brown sugar in it. I'm so excited you guys are excited to try polenta. I can't wait to show you the finished version here. It's like soft in the middle and a little crispy on the outside. In fact, my favorite way to cook it is to slice it off like I just did. There goes my voice again. And cook it in a pan, in a nonstick pan with some olive oil, and it literally gets crispy on the outside. And then you flip it. It only takes a couple of minutes. And you know what I put on it yesterday? I served it like breakfast. I drizzled it with maple syrup and berries. It was amazing. So there's an idea for you, but it is practical. It's cost efficient. You can eat more plants. It's a wonderful base for meals, whether you're doing vegetarian or meat-based. Like I said, if you do like short ribs or coq au vin or anything like that, it is fantastic as the starch. Okay, one more bite. This is phenomenal. The green curry paste is not hot at all. What you get is the ginger. You get some of the lemongrass. I get the basil, obviously, since it's there. I get the coconut milk. It's very layered, which I love. It's like you're having a bite. You're like, ooh, I taste this, and then I taste that. So good. You're absolutely right, Michael, about using fresh polenta the next day. Like just put it in the fridge and it'll harden up. Or here's a really fun thing you can do too. Make fresh polenta and then anything you have left over, pour it into a sheet pan and spread it out on a sheet pan. Put it in the fridge and then you can cut it into squares or little cookie cutter circles and fry it in a pan like I was talking about. Or triangles. Triangles look really good fried too. Okay, I'm just going to have a little more because I don't think, what have I had today? I went to the store and I bought there's a gelato company named Naya, N-A-I-A, and they used to have a shop here in Walnut Creek, close to where I live. And now I think they closed their shop and they just sell the Whole Foods, but I bought a dark chocolate sorbet bar. Oh my God, it was so good. Okay. So let's talk rice noodles. And then, you know, Elizabeth, if you look up how to make fresh polenta, it is so simple. It's just, you have to stir it a lot. It's like cooking risotto where you add liquid and you just sit there and you stir and you stir and you stir. Because the corn, ground corn needs to absorb all of the water or the chicken stock. So you can do it with water only. It's really peasant food, you know, it was like the base of so many dishes, just like people could use potatoes, corn, flour, right? Rice, but you just need to stir if you're doing it on the cooktop, and because otherwise it gets really lumpy. And then to finish it, people add, depending on where you live, it's like grits, right? It's just a different grind of corn than grits. Cheese, cream, butter, milk, whatever you like to finish. I just like doing polenta with water or chicken stock, or I buy it like this already cooked and I fry it in the pan. So let's talk rice noodles. There are tons. This is, these are called pad thai. That's about the thickness of them. So there are thin rice noodles. There are thick rice noodles. I like this size. Yeah, Elizabeth, I just like to make it pre-made unless somebody's making it for me, honestly. Three Ladies is awesome too. They make brown rice noodles as well, which I've used before. And here's the deal. You can cook them. They cook in like 4 to 5 minutes. And a lot of people, depending on what country's food is using rice noodles, some people just soak them in really hot water. Other people simmer them, for 4 to 5 minutes. I usually simmer them. And the instructions on this, boil for 4 to 5 minutes until tender. And then it says for cold noodle dishes, rinse under cold water. You want to do that because otherwise they stick together. So if I'm going to use them as a base for anything, actually, like my Thai red curry that's on my website and in the meal plan this week calls for these as well. I rinse them and I keep them in a colander rinsed until I'm serving the curry, because then they won't be so sticky. You put them in the bottom of a bowl and you just pile it on. So that's what I would do for this. I would cook them. I would rinse them in cold water so they're not sticky. And then if you wanted to get them hot, put them back in a pan and heat them with like a half a cup of the sauce of the marinade. Delicious. You could add some sliced green onions to them just to add more color and more flavor, and that would be delicious, okay? Sonia, they're a little thinner than fettuccine, but they're flat like that. Let me just open the box for you so you can see. Again, you can make these ahead of time. So make them an hour ahead of time, rinse them in cold water, and just leave them in a colander until you're ready to use them. Can you see? They're probably half the width of a fettuccine. And they're flat. I know you love citrus. We had so many new varieties of the farmers market the past couple weeks. Have you ever used Buddha hand? Oh, Lori. You're welcome, Sonia. I love Buddha's hand. In fact, I got into this phase. If you guys haven't seen it, it's like literally it looks like a lemon that grew fingers, like with pointy nails. I love it. I've used it in cocktail recipes a lot. I just went through a phase with it, but absolutely, I like it a lot. And you can use it in all kinds of ways. Have you ever seen those finger limes that are like this and you pop them open and they have all these like seeds that look gelatinous and you can eat the whole thing? I love those. I love kumquats. I'm obsessed with Meyer lemons. It's a hybrid between a lemon and a tangerine. So it tastes more like lemon, but it doesn't have the acidic finish to it. So I buy them all the time. Let's see if our food's done. You have a finger lime tree? Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Look at how excited I am. That's like very exciting news to me. Be right back. Let's make some room for this. Oh, we're gonna need room for 2 sheet pans. Let's do this. And then, hold please. Let's get another oven mitt down. 2 oven mitts. Okay. Yummy, 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 yummy. I said that earlier about finger limes. It's my new drink garnish. It's like Pop Rocks. That's such a great suggestion. Oh my gosh, you guys. You can't see. I'm going to have to plate it up so you can see how beautiful. The tomatoes give off a lot of juice, but then the cheese melted on the polenta. Holy cow. Charlie, are you hungry? Oh, I just meant to put the basil on, not more salt. Whoops. Here. Let's do this. Put it in there. I'm going to put a little here, and then I'm going to kind of stir it up. Let's do this. Oh my gosh. You guys, this is going to be dreamy. I need to snooze on my thing. We still have 15 minutes. Just soak in hot water so they will absorb the sauce. Are you talking about finger limes? Oh, you're talking about the noodles. That's hilarious. Yeah, and depending on the thickness of the noodle, obviously they need to cook longer or for a shorter amount of time. So I taste them. I taste the noodles like I taste for pasta, right? I want al dente, and it'll sneak up on you how quickly they cook. Let me make a plate of this, you guys, and then I'll take questions. By the way, if you're in the meal planning class and you were one of the first 50 to sign up, I think Caitlin's reached out to you to get your addresses so you can get your fish spatula delivered. I'm so excited for you guys all to get the fish spatula. Okay. I'm going to do a couple, oh my gosh, pieces of this. And then let's get, so can you imagine all of these delicious flavors on a sub roll toasted with cheese? Holy cow. I mean, out of this world. Okay. This is insane. I would probably honestly slice these before I served them, unless you think everybody wants one whole. Or if I'm making a sandwich, I would slice it lengthwise and put it in the sandwich so it's a little bit easier to eat, to bite through. But you guys, check it out. Hold on, I want a spoon to get more of the juice over the polenta. But this is just a stunner. Yes? Do we like? I like. It would be amazing, even vegetarian. We don't need basil on the sausage. That looks kind of weird. Excuse my fingers. Oop. But you guys, and all of the yummy juices from this, you could scoop into there. Let me move this aside so I can try it and make ooh-ah comments. And, oh my gosh, this mess is not bad at all. And in fact, it's all on foil. I'm so excited about that, you guys. Move aside, little sheet pan, move aside. And remember, you could just use these little quarter sheet pans if you prefer, and just do smaller sizes of everything for yourself. Or prep all the ingredients, right? Like slice the peppers and the onions, put them in the refrigerator. And then anytime you want to make a fresh batch, just heat up your oven, put a little sheet pan in, and you can make dinner for one. That'd be amazing as well. Good, right? This is totally gonna become a greatest hits meal around here. And I'm gonna adapt it, and I'm gonna add it to my cookbook because who doesn't love sausage, peppers, polenta, you guys? Lori, anybody who hadn't tried polenta, please report back. You guys, so good. It was so hot. And you know what's funny? The wild Italian sausage at Whole Foods that they sell, you're a porkitarian. Diane, God, that's just one more reason we're friends. I'm such a pork fan, it's ridiculous. Normally Whole Foods sausage has a ton of salt in it. In fact, it's got so much salt, I usually don't even like to salt anything else going around it when the juices come out. Yeah. Bob's Red Mill has great, I bet you're saying corn or something to do polenta. Yeah, polenta. They sure do. Bob's Red Mill, I'm just a fan in general. Sausage so hot because of its juices. Exactly. Diane, if I could be a porkitarian, I would. In fact, I should add a double cut pork chop. A double cut maple brine pork chop onto my menu for my last meal. Oh, so good. What brand did I use of the sausage? I used a brand I hadn't used before. I normally just buy Whole Foods in the case because they make them fresh in the store, which I really appreciate. So I very rarely buy fresh sausage, like by a brand that's made them, but it was from my favorite little local store. I'll look it up. It's in the garbage that's behind me, and I'll tell you what I used, okay? Let's just have another bite of this polenta, and we'll do the ooh-off thing again. But I couldn't get enough basil. You guys could like double up on the basil, and it would be amazing. Now let's get a bite of the sausage without setting my mouth on fire. They're cooked really well. They're juicy inside. Probably 25 to 30 minutes I did tops, you guys. You could certainly test them with a meat thermometer to make sure they're at like 165, 170. I just get used to being able to eyeball them, but just practice. Have I made my own sausage? I made sausage, Diane, when I worked on a cookbook for SPQR and A16 in the city. The SPQR cookbook with Matt Accarino, who had me make a gazillion types of homemade sausage. And I was so over it because the KitchenAid sausage attachment, none of them have enough torque to like really make it easy for you. And oh, thanks, Sonia, for giving that to Diane. So it's like you're just shoving. But yeah, I've done the whole thing. I've done the whole thing of ordering all of the sheep intestines for the casing, which it just gives you, and we did it in cooking school as well. It just gives you such an appreciation for the love that goes into our food. Let me have one more bite. Diana, it was the SPQR book, I think, where I had to do the homemade sausage. A16, well, as you can imagine, pizza. It was amazing. SPQR, we made so many fresh pastas. I wanted to cry. I just found out I was gluten intolerant. And it is like one of the most skilled cookbooks I've ever worked on in my life. It's like his food is so elevated at SPQR that I decided, oh, how funny. The book is holding up my laptop right now. And I kid you not, I did not even look at the books I picked. SPQR, Michael Mina, the cookbook, and The Food of Morocco by Paula Wolford. Isn't that bizarre? But I was so sad because I couldn't eat the pizza. I couldn't eat the pasta. So I was making like fresh lasagna with sweetbreads in it. I made so many homemade sausages. We did a sous vide, like message in a bottle situation where you put like one piece of every kind of seafood in a bottle, and I had made this saffron broth to go with it. Oh my God, it was amazing. You don't want to watch the sausage being made. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Michael. Haas sausage. Oh my God, Betsy. Okay, we have Haas sauce. Here are my Haas companies. We have 7 minutes, and you guys can ask me more questions as well. We have Haas. These are all the brands we can roll out. Haas sauce, Haas moss, backyard entertaining, greenery. Haas floss. You need it after I cook for you. I'm Haas boss. I used to be Haas boss at Williams Sonoma. Haas floss, Haas loss. No, moss sauce. We had like 7 different companies we were going to plan with my last name. Isn't that hilarious? Will we be doing meal planning again? Sandy, I'm so glad you asked that question. Absolutely. We have a lot of people on the wait list already. And it was interesting because a lot of people said I feel like I hammer you guys with emails and information, and I'm embarrassed because I hate to push things on you, right? But a lot of people signed up late, or they just said I wasn't ready to take it at this time of year. So I'm going to offer another meal planning class. It's either going to launch in October. Actually, to think about it, I need to launch it in October because, Elizabeth, for a lot of people, it's a bad time for back to school. And for many others, they loved it for back to school, right? Because they're like, oh crap, I got to figure this out. But what I want to focus on in October's class is I'm going to get really back to basics in terms of the recipes and kind of like be even more conscious than ever about the health component, because my personal problem, and you guys can tell me if you've ever done this, I go to cook the Thanksgiving meal. I'm obsessed with cooking the entire meal. Like, I maybe let my friends bring 1 or 2 things. Somebody will be like, her mom insists on bringing something and she wants to bring something. But I'll be like, you do the appetizers and you bring a pie. And so I load up my entire fridge with food, and I have no idea what we're going to make for the rest of the week to eat. So I have no space, and I've thought through none of it. So I don't have anything to eat, and it's so annoying because we end up ordering a ton of takeout or going out the week of Thanksgiving, which is like when you want to be eating the best. And so think October meal planning. I'll probably do a lot of things that you could freeze. So I'll probably do a really like nutrient dense soup, for lack of a better word, something with like chard and tomatoes and all kinds of good ingredients that you could freeze and pull out anytime you need. I'll probably do something like a chili or a lasagna. And then I'll do a couple really healthy, really fast meals. So the things like honey mustard salmon, or like if you guys go to Traeger's website today, talk about a great sheet pan meal. I have a sheet pan salmon on Traeger's website that is the easiest sheet pan recipe of all time. You chop up a bunch of vegetables, you put salmon on it. If you do it in the oven, it's good to heat the sheet pan first, and then it cooks in 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes. I'll do things like that. And yes, so meal planning is coming again. So count on October. And then we're actually even talking about rolling out, once you've taken the meal planning class, just rolling out 4 meal plans a month for people with my recipes for like a very small amount of money. But just so if you really get into meal planning, you can keep going with it. I want to answer 2 questions. Oh, yay, Lori, about the lasagna. It was a great class. Oh, Diana, I'm so glad. I've been texting and talking to Craig and Chrissy while they were in Hawaii. I will definitely do a Traeger class, and I'm actually in the middle of renegotiating my contract with Traeger. And so we just are getting really clear on what I do on my website versus what I do for Traeger. So I will be announcing a Traeger class very soon. And if you go over to Traeger's website, I've done a lot of classes that are free on there too. You're good, Sandy, on the grocery shopping aspect. We're all obsessed with the grocery shopping aspect. It's really fun. And Lori, I haven't picked a prize, but the question is, has Caitlin emailed me with the winner? I might have to announce it on Instagram because she is at a wedding in, I don't even know where she is. She's at that age where like every time you blink, somebody else is getting married. And she has not sent me the winner. So why don't I do this? Why don't I do most of you follow me on Instagram at Amanda Haas Cooks? I'll announce the winner on there and I will email the winner too. Okay. So let me get it. I'll text her and see if she picks someone and we'll announce it there. And we have to go back and make sure that it's someone who hasn't won yet. So once we get through all of our big members, once all of you have won, we can pick a same winner again. So let me get back to you. Okay. Check on Instagram. I'll put it in the email when I send you the replay of this class as well. Okay. Okay. I have 64 seconds left. Anything else, guys? That was a blast. I love cooking with all of you as always, even though it took me a long time to chat through them with you. I hope you found these to be such easy recipes that you can, alter for the amount of people you want to cook for and make ahead and do any night of the week. They'd be great for entertaining too, because you can relax, right? Everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend and I can't wait to see you soon. Okay. Take care. Next time I'll have a microphone. Bye.